Welcome to episode 9 of Pinnacle FC. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you as we spin you around the world of football domestically, all the top games we deal with. We give you our free picks right here on Pinnacle FC. A couple of show updates. No, Jake and I, we're not going anywhere. Some good news. We're going to add a Champions League focused show to our arsenal. It's going to be part of the Pinnacle FC series of podcasts, but every Champions League match week, we're going to get on and give you our best picks and best bets from the Champions League. We may even touch on some Europa League action as well. How does that sound to you, Jake?
Sounds great. I think we've already covered a bit of the Champions League on this show in terms of longer range selections for upcoming matches, and I believe you did pretty well on those. So I can only imagine how things are going to go on the week of when we've actually got a better picture. So yeah, looking forward to that. I think the next one is actually next Monday, isn't it? We've got another round of Champions League next week. So yeah, looking forward to it.
We are, and maybe perhaps some of our picks and plays this weekend may be affected by some of the Champions League fixtures ahead as well. We will see. And something that we're adding to this podcast here on a weekly basis as we look ahead to the weekend that will be across European football's top divisions. We're going to start keeping a little bit of track of our bets, see how they fare. And at the end of every episode, we'll present you with our best bets, our top 3 plays for each of us over the course of the weekend. Obviously, in our description on a week-to-week basis, you kind of get a feel for what we like, but we're going to make it more official on this podcast as well. So we're going to keep us in check, Jake. That's basically what it's for. I just wish we started last week because on this podcast,
thinking the same thing, man. I wish we'd started 3 weeks ago. We've been red hot.
Let's not go crazy here. Last week would have been suitable. Last week on this podcast with my picks alone, I had 9 correct picks and I ended up making a profit of almost 6.25 units. It was a crazy week. Being on Barcelona and the goals against Real Madrid was great. My continental picks, I didn't get one wrong across Italy and Germany on the weekend. It's just been a good week and a half of football. And so let's keep things going on this podcast. And you yourself, in terms of your picks, also profitable last week as well. Brentford, Ipswich Town, both teams to score, and Brentford to win came through. I guess you're singing Brian Mbomo's praises because he was a little bit of a savior in that match, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, the cross-come shot that was the ending in the winner was a bit of a fluke, but you know, you need a bit of luck in this game, don't you? Yeah, Brentford to win, both teams to score. It was either that or my other big fancy, Villa to beat Bournemouth. So one of them got a 96-minute winner, one of them conceded a 96-minute equaliser. So I was glad it was the Brentford way around because I'd backed Brentford to win and both teams to score at a bigger price as opposed to just a straight Villa win. But yeah, a good week as well. Obviously, I was on Barcelona handicap. Overs in Atalanta versus Verona. I think were they 6-1 up at half-time or something daft like that. So yeah, that was a nice easy winner, and the over in the Leverkusen game as well, which I think finished 2-2 over 3.25. That was a plus number. So yeah, like I said, I wish we'd have started keeping track 3-4 weeks ago because it feels like we've been on a very hot run, and long may it continue. I think we're at the stage of the season where we've got a very speak for myself, I feel like I've got a good handle on teams and what we can expect from everybody. So it does make kind of prognosticating a little bit easier. A lot less guessing, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just been about 4 minutes of patting ourselves on the back, bragging,
well done,
raving,
yeah,
and bringing you up to speed as well. But let's get into this weekend's action, shall we? And let's start out as we do every week in the Premier League this weekend. And there are a couple notable fixtures, but let's start off with the first one of the weekend because I do think it's consequential. It's Newcastle hosting Arsenal. Arsenal have really been affected by these injuries. They did manage to come away with the 2-2 draw against Liverpool last week, but nothing seems clean on a week-to-week basis. Same thing goes for this Newcastle side. At times, looking very composed, collected, but simply just not putting the ball into the back of the net anywhere near what we expected this team to be able to be capable of to start the season. I think it's a big game for both sides. Newcastle to cement themselves as kind of that team that's going to challenge for the Champions League, and Arsenal really to continue that conversation about them being a true title contender. What do you make of this fixture, Jake? Do you have a play here? Do you have a feel about either one of these teams that have been a little bit unpredictable to start the season?
Yeah, I think the longer that Arsenal play without Martin Odegaard, the more important we realise he actually is to them. They looked good, I thought, at times against Liverpool. Admittedly, it's not a Liverpool team that I think what I thought at the start of the season was going to challenge for the title. So we'll take what we will from that. But it's the defensive injuries to me that have me hesitant to back Arsenal, because I do think they'd have enough to cause problems against Newcastle and create chances, because you've got Saka, who leads the lead in assists, leads the lead by far in expected assists. Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz. I think there's enough goals there to get past this Newcastle team. It's just, can they keep them out? Gabriel picked up a knock last week. Is he going to be fit? Julian Timber, is he going to be fit? He was taken off. Looked like it could have just been cramped, which would be good news. You're playing Thomas Partey at right back, so you lose his industry in midfield. Saliba's still suspended, so I think if we'd got Saliba and Gabriel at centre half for Arsenal, I think I'd be looking at picking them to win the game. But you're also probably going to get the slightly shorter price, aren't you? The -103. So all in all, I'm a no bet here. I will just say I've been very disappointed with Newcastle so far this season. They got off such a hot start, didn't they? But they're now winless in 5. But they have saved some of their better performances for St James's Park. Obviously played Manchester City very well into a 1-1 draw, highlighting that they are capable of getting results against good teams. And Chelsea were slightly fortunate at the weekend because they gave up quite a lot of good chances to Newcastle. And that was without Anthony Gordon, who's arguably been their best attacking player this season. So there are positives for Newcastle, even though it has been a poor start to the season. But like I said, I can't be backing either of these teams at these prices, so no bet.
I get it. But for me, the clear edge or clear play in this one is to the unders. Arsenal away. I mean, other than the 2 games away from home against, the one against Man City where they conceded twice on the season. I mean, they've been pretty decent. They've been playing to the under away from home, under at Bournemouth, under at Villa, under at Spurs. It's been an under team because I do think that despite them missing some players at the back, this team has the ability to play much more composed, lock it down football when they go away from home. Their XG suggests that much. Newcastle, a goal against Chelsea, nothing against Brighton, nothing against Everton. EFL Cup, just a goal against Wimbledon, a goal against City, 1 goal against Fulham. Like, this is the way that they're trending. They played to the under in 4 of their last 5. And I just don't think at St. James's Park, Arsenal's going to be that team that's very much on the front foot. At least that's not the way that things have played out in recent vintage. Yes, Arsenal beat Newcastle last season 4-1 at home. But before that, it was under 2.5 in their previous 6 matchups. So I think that that's the trend that it will follow. Money's actually come in on the under considerably. It's moved from plus 108 out to minus 102. I think that's a direction that'll keep on going. I have no problem with a full unit play on the under in this one. The other really big game in the Premier League, it's at Old Trafford this weekend. It's Manchester United and Chelsea. Cue Jake to get in his shots at this Manchester United supporter. I feel very just neutral about Eric Ten Hag being let go from Manchester United at the time of this podcast. Amorim looks like he's going to come in, whether it will be the sporting manager will be on the touchline on the weekend. We're just not quite sure where things stand right now. Chelsea look at like a dynamic team, capable about beating just about everyone. Of course, Jadon Sancho cannot play this weekend as he's playing his parent side. And Manchester United, I mean, it's such a harsh time to sack Ten Hag. I think that that's maybe where my head more is right now, because they should have scored 5 or 6 goals against a really bad West Ham team. They end up losing 2-1 on an absolute sham of a VAR penalty called. Thank you very much, Michael Oliver. I still, it bothers me. That's not a penalty in any game of football, let alone that one that we saw on the weekend. So at Old Trafford, new manager, whether it's Ruud van Nistelrooy or the new man coming in, I'm just to stay away for this game because there's too many variables that are up in the air. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't slate anyone that wanted to back Chelsea here. The number actually looks quite good. It's just the unpredictable nature of it that makes you kind of want to stay away to a certain degree.
Yeah, 100%. I think anybody that is going to have a bet on this game needs to understand the risks, because, as I just said at the start of the show, we feel like we're getting a grasp of what teams are like, what they can do, their ceilings, their floors. But that's just been wiped out now for Manchester United because they've just got rid of the manager. We don't know what the impact that's going to have in the dressing room. Is it going to Are players going to relax a little bit and play a little bit better because they're not going to be in this rigid Ten Hag kind of system? Are they going to enjoy the football a bit more?
System.
System. Yeah. We've got likes of Marcus Rashford, who's not looked himself for 12 months, and is he going to return to kind of similar form we saw beforehand? Now that Ten Hag's gone, and you've got a new voice in the dressing room, even if it is Ruud van Nistelrooy as opposed to Amorim for this game. So yeah, there's a lot of question marks, and like you said, it's a very strange time to sack him, especially when you've got Chelsea this week, you've got a midweek Europa League game, and then you've got another Premier League game, then you've got an international break, which would have probably been a wiser time to do it, because you've got a nice bit of respite there in the fixture list. So very strange, and to come off the back of a game in which, like you said, they should have been comfortably. I mean, the first half expected goal total in the game last week, Manchester United generated 1.7 expected goals. West Ham had one shot at 0.04 expected goals. So it was absolute domination. And it was pure bad finishing as to why United weren't comfortably ahead. Diogo Dalot has got blood on his hands. He's got Erik Ten Hag's, not single-handedly, obviously.
Not just that game, multiple games this weekend. I question whether he can actually defend. I just don't think he's a good defender. I don't want to diagnose the problem.
He's an attacking fullback, isn't he, ultimately? And he might be someone that thrives if Amorim comes in, plays a back three and a wing back. He might suit playing that right wing back role more. But again, that comes down to is Erik Ten Hag not a bad manager, but did he mismanage the players at his disposal? Would he have been better taking a look at this and going, well, my centre halves aren't good enough to play in a two, so I should play a three, really, and play with wing backs and get them a bit more support. So. Yeah, but the chance that he missed, the open net, if that goes in, the pressure that West Ham are under and Lopetegui, their heads probably drop and United win comfortably, and we're not having this conversation. So fine margins in football always is, but as for this game, I don't trust what I'm going to get from Manchester United. I still don't trust what I'm going to get from Chelsea, and they're probably the one team I'm struggling with the most to put my finger on week to week, and I keep saying it on this podcast because the underlying data in certain matches is excellent, and then they go and throw up a real curveball, like last week against Newcastle, conceding over 2 expected goals at home. Bit of a curveball. So I've nothing I fancy at all in this game. But it is interesting how the lines moved. I mean, United were plus 180 to win the game. They're now plus 160 after Ten Hag's been sacked, which kind of shows you that people are expecting some kind of bounce. But yeah, for me, I'm just going to be sitting watching brief.
Yeah, and it's the numbers, like the underlying data is better than they've performed. And at some point, some of those chances are going to go into the back of the net. Will it be this weekend? I'm just, and the way that United Chelsea games played out last year, I'm staying far away from this one. All right, maybe the game that would be third in the billing of the weekends, also on Sunday. It's Spurs taking on Aston Villa. And what are Spurs? Like, this is my question here. They're a significant favorite over Villa heading into this game at minus 112 if you want to back them to win at home outright. Coming off a 1-0 loss to Crystal Palace, they always beat Palace. In their last few games, they gone on to beat West Ham, poor team, lose to Brighton in spectacular fashion. Like, what are Spurs? I think I know what Aston Villa are. Villa are a good team. They haven't lost a game in their last 11. Yet, if you want to take them on the handicap, which is half a goal, which means a draw or a win, you win that bet at plus 101. It's available to be had. I'm taking that. I think Villa are the better side heading into this one. I'm not quite understanding the market heading into this one. Perhaps you can explain it a little better.
No, I'm baffled as well, to be honest. I think the gap between these two teams is, I think Villa are the better team for a start, and these odds don't really reflect that. If Villa were the better team, you'd be looking at, home field advantage. You'd probably be looking at Spurs around plus 140, maybe. So Villa being better at a neutral venue, but yeah, I think it's a strange one. They again just continue to outdo themselves. I mean, I think one of the main problems is the lack of depth and options off the bench, because on paper it looks like a good bench, but I think the players coming on are actually not very good, and they actually make the system and the team worse. Because if you watch the game last week against Palace, they looked really good for about 40 minutes. They went 1-0 down within that time, but heading into half time, it looked like they're going to come out the second half. They're going to put on a good performance. They had 2 shots in total after the 50th minute of the match when they were losing 1-0. That's just not acceptable. For a team that wants to finish in the top four, that is not acceptable at all. And I think that goes to show that if plan A isn't working, there is no plan B. There's no plan C. There's nothing. It's just plan A or bust. And like I said, the players that he's bringing on off the bench to try and freshen things up, they just aren't working. They're just not good enough to sustain the kind of pressure that they want to do. And yeah, I think it's telling really that against good teams this season, they've really struggled. So Newcastle, I would say, are a good team. They probably are going to finish in the top 8 event when they get sort themselves out. You've got Arsenal and Brighton. They've lost to all 3 of those. And they've beaten teams you'd expect them to. Everton at home, Brentford at home, West Ham at home. Even Man United away, you probably would expect them to go there and get a result. So the fact they're now playing a Villa team, who are a good team, they are extremely savvy. They are tactically astute. They're versatile. Got all the tools, the different kinds of players to be able to hurt Spurs. And I would argue they've got a better bench than Spurs. I think it's a huge problem for them. And I hate to say it, but if Spurs lose this game, I mean, is he under serious pressure, Postecoglou? Because they all of a sudden you're in the bottom half of the table, and from pre-season expectations being top 4's guaranteed, and they're going to contend for trophies, to bottom half football, that is not good at all.
I was going to suggest, we're recording this podcast before their Carabao Cup tie against Manchester City on Wednesday, where, I mean, there's pressure. I'm assuming he's going to play a decent enough side, which I think kind of will play into what happens on the weekend as well. So it's a tough couple games for him. If he's out of this cup competition and then fall on the weekend, I think it's a decent question to ask. So are you making a play on Villa as well?
Yeah, I'm on Villa as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think
on the handicap?
Yeah. I was expecting them to be kind of draw no bet in terms of the line, to be honest. I thought we'd be seeing something similar to Southampton Everton, where you've got home team plus 165, away team plus 172, and the handicap's at 0. But we're getting half a goal. Just go there, avoid defeat, and I think it's something they definitely can do.
This was the line that surprised me the most on the weekend, and in a good way. All right, What else are you looking at in terms of your Champions League picks and plays, Jake?
Well, one of my favourite bets of the week is actually swimming against the tide a little bit with not so much Wolves, but Crystal Palace, and taking their game to have quite a lot of goals. The line set 2.5, and I can't really understand why. Well, I can, because Crystal Palace's matches have been quite low scoring, but if you dig a little bit deeper, I think there's reason to explain why that is. But I think first and foremost, this is a massive game for both. I know Palace beat Spurs, but they're still down there. Wolves still winless, so it's a big game. And Wolves' games have been the most goal-laden in the entire Premier League. They've averaged 4.1 goals per game, over 2.5 landed in 7 of 9, which isn't a surprise. Anybody who watches Wolves knows just how gung-ho they are and how attack-minded they are under O'Neill. But yeah, Palace, their games have seen the fewest goals in the league, 1.9 per game. The overs has landed in 3 of 9. But like I said, I think there's a bit of a caveat. So the last 3 games they've played against teams that rank in the top 5 in terms of expected goals against this season. So effectively, they've played 3 of the top 5 defences so far this season, which is why I think there's been a dearth of goals in their last 3 games. And prior to that, they had a 2-1 win at Everton, 2-1 defeat at Everton, a goalless draw with Manchester United that had 4 expected goals worth of chances, and a 2-2 draw with Leicester. So they are more than capable of racking up chances, conceding chances, and also seeing goals. So I just thought the line was a little bit low, to be honest, at 2.5. And I think that the way in which Wolves have started the season, they're not quite in desperation mode, but they're very close to it. And I think this is a game that they'll have marked as a must-win-ish. So I think they'll be going for it. And I think it'll suit Palace, to be honest, to play on the counter-attack. So over 2.5, minus 108. I was surprised the line.
Very, very quickly, I had the exact same play. I'm not trying to piggyback off you. Last year, they played to a 3-1 and a 3-2. Palace shouldn't be an under team. I think that they've, like you said, they've been a little bit pragmatic in terms of the way that they played. They got the all important win last weekend. That's behind them. Now they can go off here, and it's just their data, like in terms of their expected goals for Palace away from home, is second worst in the Premier League away, and I think that kind of parlays into it. And the numbers are crazy for Wolves compared to where the data is as well, just like far more goals than what should happen in their game. But this is kind of how they play and leave themselves opened up. All right, anything else this weekend in the Prem?
Yeah, I mentioned the Southampton Everton game, and yeah, I'm going to take Everton on the handicap. I think Everton draw no bet, having them as the outsiders here. You're laughing. I'm guessing you've got the same pick.
Well, I just went the draw no bet for this
Yes,
game, but
yeah,
carry
that's the
on.
same.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Draw no bet. I mean, Southampton. Everyone they were getting so much plaudits for losing 1-0 at the Etihad, and anybody who looked at the underlying data, looked at the chances City missed, will understand that they should have been absolutely wiped out. It should have been 4-5. It was over 3 expected goals for City. They created very, very little, and I think that's that attacking issue is still there for Southampton. And Russell Martin's another manager on a hot seat, and I just think Everton are a better team. They've steadied the ship. They had a poor start to the season. They've really steadied the ship. I think that Jared Branthwaite is going to be back in as well. I know he came in for their first win of the season against Palace. Then he picked up another knock. He came off the bench last week. I think he'll be back in from the start, and that only adds to my confidence because he is their best defender. And Southampton so far at home, they've played. I mean, they played Forest, who are a decent team. They played Man United, who under Ten Hag were a mid-table team. Played Leicester, who were rubbish, and played Ipswich, who again have shown very little, and they're winless. And I think that is says it all, really. I'd probably put Everton above Ipswich, above Leicester, probably on the similar kind of level to Man United throughout the start of this season. So, yeah, the fact that we're getting a draw no bet, big price.
Same thing. Everton, no losses in 6. Southampton also played to a difficult 3-2 win in the Carabao Cup midweek. Everton's just being able to rest up. They're getting more fit. Some of the new players are looking decent as well. Only one way to go on that one. Southampton also expected points at home are the second fewest in the Premier League as well. Only Leicester City are worst. Sandwiched between the 2 other teams that were promoted who stink. Well, Leicester's at least put up a little bit of a fight, but Ipswich Town has been abject. Okay. Do you want to keep on going? Do you have anything else?
I'm done for the Prem. That's it for me.
I just said that Ipswich Town is abject. I did put in pencil, not in pen. I'm considering an Ipswich Town play this week to win at plus 126. It's one of those, it has to happen at some point, doesn't it? And they play Leicester City. Are they going to have it? When's the next best chance that they're going to have to come out and win a game? So it's almost by default, but I hate making plays that way. The only other one that is making my card is the over in Bournemouth and Manchester City. City continued to concede goals. They did win with a clean sheet last weekend, but nothing seems straightforward for this team. And even Pep Guardiola had the EFL Cup tie against Spurs. He's acknowledged that they have some injuries. They're having some issues with their team, and this is a team that's been able to remain relatively healthy over recent seasons. I just think that this possesses a little bit of a different type of a challenge. Whenever Bournemouth and City play, 2 things happen. City win. City won their last 15 games against Bournemouth. That's crazy. And it's gone over 2.5 goals in 6 of the last 7. Both teams have scored in 5 of 7. So there's typically goals in this fixture. City have played over 2.5 goals in 4 of their last 5. And I just think that the style of play of Bournemouth that's going to be combative. I think if City can really press the issue here and put a couple past them, then I mean, this game could be exceptionally high. I think this game could go over the 3.5 total and not just 3. So I'll make a full unit play on the over in this one. Different, horses for different courses. I think this one has all the makings of being a high scoring fixture. So that's all for me in the Premier League. Shall we move on to La Liga? What a weekend it was last week in La Liga, by the way. Where do you want to start here? Unfortunately, I don't have a play surrounding Barcelona because they're a whole lot of fun to watch and talk about right now. But I'm wondering what else, if Barcelona's match or any other games are making your card this weekend.
No, I'm having Real Madrid to throw the toys out of the pram at plus 108. That's something that happened in midweek with the Ballon d'Or. Classy gesture not to turn up and support a Spanish international that's won a Ballon d'Or, but we'll leave it.
It's crazy.
But yeah, they get an away game at Valencia, and I'd be shocked if they didn't bounce back from that Barcelona absolute thumping embarrassment at home, wasn't it? But my favourite bet from the Liga is actually one of the teams you backed last week, Villarreal. They're playing Vallecano at home, and they've got a minus 0.75 handicap to overcome. But they've been really good this season. I mean, the underlying data is fantastic. They sit third on expected points, above Real Madrid, above Atletico Madrid. Only Barcelona have been better in attack than the Yellow Submarine this season. And at home, they are 1-2, drawn 2, lost 1. But that defeat came against Barcelona, and one of the draws did come against Atletico. So steady home form. Rayo, decent at 9th in the league, but they've had a poor process. They've conceded 5 away from home, but they've actually allowed 10.5 expected goals. So they've been extremely fortunate, conceding a bunch of chances that without getting punished. And I think the way in which Villarreal's attack is purring at the moment, they are going to punish them this weekend. So Villarreal on the handicap at minus 115 is my play in La Liga.
Wow. So you're going against the grain here. Anything else in La Liga, or is that it?
No, that's it for me in La Liga. I was looking at potentially taking Bilbao to beat Betis, but Betis are another team whose underlying data is very, very good this season. So I just want to leave that alone and just keep an eye on them.
I just got to check a number here. It might be my favorite play on the weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna make this. The line is actually being pushed out. Incredible. Osasuna against Real Valladolid last night for Osasuna to win in over 2.5 was playing at plus 250. As of Wednesday morning, it shifted down to plus 187 because this was a complete error in the market. And I still think that you're finding some good value. Osasuna is 4-1-1 at home and are among the best sides in La Liga in terms of their home form to start the season. It's been a really good start to the season for Osasuna. Valladolid is one of those teams that are right at the bottom of the table for good reason because they're just not very good. There's 3 or 4 of them that, especially away from home, that you can pick on, and I think you can find some value going up against good teams. They've conceded 17 goals away from home in 5 away matches. And their expected goals for is just 3.93, so they don't really have an attacking threat as well. Osasuna has gone over 2.5 goals in their last 7 games as well. Both teams have scored has played in 7 of 7. Valladolid, both teams have scored has played in 6 of 8. And when these two sides play, Osasuna is being the better team. When these two sides play, especially at home, they haven't lost in their last 7 games. To Valladolid as well. I just think that you're getting big value on an Osasuna team that can attack away from home. Valladolid concedes a whole lot away from home. This might be my favorite play of the week. I liked it a whole lot more at plus 250, but I'll still take it at plus 187. I'm also going to play backing Sevilla at home to Real Sociedad. I'm on a big Sociedad fade. They've just been entirely inconsistent and unimpressive over the course of the season. Lost at home last week to the team I just spoke about, Osasuna. Sevilla now, despite having a player sent off in 3 straight home games, have won each and every one of them. It's a difficult place to go. They've really kind of turned around their season based upon their home form. Games at Sevilla last season, Sevilla beat Sociedad 3-2. Sociedad has 2 wins away from home, but they haven't beat anyone good. And their expected goals is less than a goal a game. This is a team that I just don't think are capable of beating good teams. Perhaps it can stay competitive against weaker sides with this Sociedad team. Too much change for me, and their form shows it. And it's at plus 107 to back Sevilla on a draw no bet at home against Sociedad. I'll take that every day and twice on Saturday, which is upcoming this weekend as well. To Serie A we go. What do you make of the board or the markets when it comes to Serie A this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is one of the big leagues I don't have many fancies in, if any, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at maybe making a bet on Napoli to beat Atalanta at plus 101, but Atalanta's firepower going forward does scare me quite a lot. They're more than capable of breaching what is a very solid back line. So I wanted to leave that one alone. If Roma were playing anybody half decent, I probably would be backing the team they're playing because they've continued to underwhelm even after sacking the manager. But yeah, ultimately I came away and there wasn't anything that that grabbed me that I liked in terms of lines or anything like that. I mean, yeah. What about yourself? 'Cause you've got quite a few prohibitive home favourites into Lazio this weekend. Both strong favourites, aren't they?
Yeah, I the one play I like is the kind of market correction match. It's been a little bit difficult heading into this weekend in Serie A based upon the fact that there has been midweek fixtures, and there still continues to be midweek fixtures all the way through. But AC Milan, look, they're at Monza, and if they can't come away with a result at Monza, I'm going to have significant questions. No doubt, it's been a like it's been weird. They started off the season really slow, and it looked like they got their business together. Then Milan goes out midweek and loses to Napoli 2-0. Their game against Bologna was postponed, but this is a get things right game. On the handicap at 3/4 of a goal at Monza at minus 110, you're not giving away any juice that's not baked in there. Look, like Monza did win this fixture last season. Are they going to beat Milan back-to-back years at home? I just can't see it, Jake.
Depends if Fonseca leaves his best players on the bench again. I don't know if you saw in midweek. It was
I don't think he can afford
Rafael
to.
Leao and Pulisic sat on the bench for an hour. What's going on here?
But perhaps he just wasn't thinking that they were going to come away with anything against Napoli, and he's like, it's been a difficult away travel, and Napoli's been one of the best teams, the best team in Serie A this season. I look at AC Milan as being a vastly superior side. Yeah, perhaps you're right, but against
he's another
Monza,
on a hot seat, isn't he? He's another on a hot seat. He's a couple of bad results away from home.
They've won 1 of 4 away from home, but I mean, their expected goals is second best away from home in Serie A. Like, this is a team that shouldn't be having a problem like Monza. And I think that the number, like, to win outright is minus 143. To me, that still seems a little bit low. Maybe it shows you where the stock is right now when it comes to Milan. But that's all I'm thinking for Serie A this week. I was considering a Juve play. Same thing with you. I was considering Napoli, Atalanta. Maybe I can't throw it. Like, what a thrilling game, 4-4 with Inter last weekend. Now Juventus goes to Udinese to play. You know what? I'm going to make this a play as well. Juventus to win away at Udinese, a full unit play at even money. Again, it's been a tidy little bet this year going against a vastly superior side than Udinese. Udinese's done okay to start the season, but they're not Juventus, and I think that they showed what kind of mettle that they have last week in a real heavyweight tilt, and I think they could go back it up with a win at Udinese at even money this weekend. There's plenty of interest in terms of the German markets in the Bundesliga this weekend. Where are you looking in terms of your picks and plays in the Bundesliga?
Well, I mean, immediately, Bundesliga is quite a high-scoring league, so whenever you've got a goal line at 2.75, you need to do a bit of research and see if that is an automatic play. And I think with Freiburg, Mainz, it is, because we're getting minus 104 for over 2.75, but we dig a little bit deeper, it just seems very strange that the line's not at 3. Freiburg's matches this season have averaged 3 expected goals per game, Mainz at 3.1, so that aligns with the theory. Combined this season, 10 of 16 have gone over 2.5 goals, which obviously would see half this bet win. And all 4 of Freiburg's home games have gone over 2.5 goals, averaging 3.5 goals per game. And Mainz's 3 away games have all gone over 2.5 as well, averaging 4.7 goals. So I'm a bit perplexed as to why the line set so low. And I think it's just a bit of recency bias, because Mainz have had a couple of lower scoring matches. But those have come at home. For whatever reason, when they play at home, they keep it a bit tighter, I guess. The last 3 home games have gone under 2.5, 2-0, 2-0, 1-1. But away from home, no problems at all. And I think as long as we get 3 goals here, we're on to a winner. We get half a win at the very least. So, that was the one that stood out to me. I was a little bit surprised. And you've got 2 teams here as well. I mean, Mainz, they're not quite looking over their shoulders, but Freiburg are definitely looking upwards, and they're in the same amount of points as Bayer Leverkusen, who obviously the reigning champions, and will be thinking that they're a shoo-in to finish in the top 4. So if Freiburg keep winning these home games like they have been, then they're in great chance of getting more European football.
It was one of the games that I was looking at with the biggest edge this weekend as well. Let's start off with Friday. Bayer Leverkusen Stuttgart should be a great game, and I'm expecting goals. I love over the total of 3.5 at just about even money. Um, Leverkusen over 2.5 and 4 of 5. Both teams scoring 4 of 5. Stuttgart 8 of 10. When these two sides play, both teams score 5 of 5. Stuttgart doesn't have a clean sheet against Leverkusen in 13, and both are among the top scoring teams just in terms of the way things play out on a week to week basis in the Bundesliga. They already played in the Super Cup this year. It was 2-2. It went to pens. It was 2-2 last year. It was 3-2 in the Pokal to Leverkusen. Like, neither of these teams. I look at this. I'm like, 3.5. Sure, I'm going to take it. And especially when it's at even money. So no doubt there. The other one that's intriguing for me is Dortmund and Leipzig, because Dortmund have been the best home side from a metric perspective in the Bundesliga, but they have an incredible number of injuries. And guess who else has an incredible number of injuries? RB Leipzig heading into this one. Just check the injury list for both these teams and significant players. Like, Dortmund's being forced to play center midfielders at center back. They're bringing in young players who are not ready, I don't think, to play at this level. I think Leipzig's injuries have come in areas where they have a little bit more cover. That's why heading into this one, RB Leipzig, draw no bet at plus 121. So I'm going an alternative line here at plus 121. It's worth a punt here. And I actually like the under 3.25 at minus 111, because Leipzig are the best defensive side away from home in the Bundesliga. They've actually shown that they can defend really well and dig in and grind out results. They've been an effective away side to start this season. And with so many key players missing for both sides, especially from attacking areas, this is where I think that the difference will be made, is the fact that the prominence of those attacking players that are out, I think that it's not baked into the number, and I think that that's where you can find a little bit of an edge. So under 3.25 in this one as well. I'm actually considering also, it's not going to be an official play for me, but I want to flag it. Bayern Munich and Union Berlin this week is an interesting one, because Bayern Munich have been way better away from home than they have been at home. Union Berlin are fourth in the Bundesliga, and a lot of that is because they've been much more tighter. They've been playing better defensive football. I'm not sure if this will be the weekend where Bayern Munich comes to life at home, but the spread on this one is set at 2. Like 2 full goals at minus 106. Union Berlin could very well lose this game, but are they going to lose by 3? So you lose your bet? That's what I highly doubt. I don't think that there's that much risk involved in betting a team like Union Berlin, who are fourth in the Bundesliga right now, when the spread is 2. Are Bayern Munich that much better than Union Berlin, Jake? I'm not quite sure about that. They've only conceded 5 on the season. So you're going to tell me they're going to concede 3 away to Munich in this one? I'm not quite sure that adds up to me.
No, I would agree. I also would half tempted to take the under and the goal line, because Union Berlin are they're the kind of bore fest of the Bundesliga. Everyone else's games feature 3 goals pretty every week, and Union Berlin has been the exact opposite. And yeah, like you said, defensively, these are the two best.
Leipzig too.
These are the 2 best defensive teams in the league based on expected goals. You've got Bayern, who've allowed 5.5 XG in 8 games. Union Berlin 8.6 in 8 games. They are the top 2. So yeah, if Union Berlin carry on defending the way in which they are, then the handicap is going to fly in, because they're probably only going to lose by a single goal. But yeah, like I said, it's a big test, and I know it's not a massive game, but after that thumping in midweek and defeat to Aston Villa in the Champions League, then they obviously got smashed by Barca. They've probably got one eye on the Benfica game coming up as well, which is huge for their hopes of potentially finishing in the top 8 of the Champions League. So potentially overlook Union Berlin a little bit and let them hang around.
Yep. One other play really quickly. Bottom of the table, Bochum at Eintracht Frankfurt. Spread is 1.5 here. Bochum are that bad. Like, I just don't see a way through for them. Eintracht Frankfurt, 2 wins and a draw at home, 8 goals scored. The XG right about where they should be right now. I think it's a plum matchup for a decent enough home side in order to play them on the handicap. So lots of picks and plays in the Bundesliga this weekend. Nothing from Liga for me. I do recommend checking out the MLS games this weekend. The playoff format is a nightmare. Do you know about this MLS playoff format, Jake? I'm not sure if you've been following. This first round of competition, it's best of 3, not on aggregate. So if you lose your first match 5-0, like Colorado Rapids
like
did
basketball.
to LA Galaxy, they go back home and they can level up the series with potentially a 1-0 win over the Galaxy in the second leg.
So
and then they win 2 games and they move on. And right after the 90 minutes, there has to be a winner. There's no draws. It goes straight to penalties. It's bananas. It's just, yeah.
So hold on. So it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
No aggregate scores. So it's a bit like the basketball, like the NBA, right? So
yes,
first to win 2 matches goes through.
Yes.
How long's this bloody season? If they're doing that throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just goodness. This round, by the way, as well.
Oh, it's just this round?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness me.
Again, yes. But have a look at two teams that I think are 2 of the best teams in Major League Soccer. LA Galaxy at plus 130 to win at Colorado. Colorado's lost like 5 straight, 6 of 7, got smashed 5-0. Galaxy haven't been a good away team, but at plus 130 in that range to back the Galaxy to win and get this series over with, I think it's worth the punt. Same thing with LAFC at Vancouver. They're just a class side. They're the best squad, and they can go to Vancouver and win that game in 90 minutes as well. Similar range, like the plus 130 range. It's like, it's too good to turn down at this point. There you go. A little MLS talk making its way into Pinnacle FC. All right, our best bets. Let's do a little bit of a podium here. Your top 3 plays of the week are?
So in at number 1, it is over 2.75 in Freiburg versus Mainz at minus 102. Number 2 is over 2.5 goals in Wolves v Crystal Palace at minus 107. And number 3 is Villa, half a goal at plus 101 away at Spurs.
Okay. My favorite play is that one. Spurs on the handicap at half a goal, plus 101. Come on, you Villa. My second favorite play is Osasuna, Real Valladolid. Osasuna win and over 2.5 at a nice juicy number at plus 187. And my third favorite play is to the under in Borussia Dortmund, RB Leipzig, under 3.25 at minus 110. So we're spreading the love across the continent here this weekend on Pinnacle FC. We'll be back next week with a Champions League show. We're looking forward to that. As always, please get involved in the chat, like, subscribe, and let's continue to build this sucker. It's called Pinnacle FC. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. Jake, enjoy the weekend. Good picks and plays as per usual, my friend, and continue good luck.
Yeah, likewise. Let's hope we get a week like we did last week. That would be bloody lovely.
Here. On behalf of Jake, I am Wheels. This has been episode 9 of Pinnacle FC.